Hello, friends, and welcome to the Homewrecker podcast, where we wreck and shatter conventional wisdom and ways of thinking by bringing alternative viewpoints and different subjects to light in an attempt to not only change the thoughts and feelings that most people accept as reality, but to obliterate them completely. I'm your host, former pro wrestler, the Golden Greek Alex Arion. I'm joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing, certified hypnotherapist, certified Reiki master, fantastic tarot reader, my lovely wife, Monique. Monique, how are you?
Hi, you forgot candle maker, incense maker, organite maker. I do a lot of shit.
There's just too much to keep track of for crying. I can't even remember
stay
it all.
busy, damn it.
Goodness.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic as always. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Anything new with you? What's going on?
I was actually thinking of this today. I was in the gym working out, and I realized for the first time in almost 7 years, my neck today was pain free. Like I had no pain in my neck.
That is amazing, because that never happens.
No, today was the first day, and I don't know when it went away, but I realized it when I was actually working out. It was the weirdest thing. I'm like, holy shit, my neck doesn't hurt. And then I started doing some like rolls and started moving my neck around and stuff that I haven't been able to do in a long time. And I mean, I didn't go crazy because I didn't want to hurt myself again or anything, but it was the first time that I was able to move my neck around and do a couple of different things. And it was, the pain was gone. It's like, geez, it only took 7 years to go away.
Better late than never.
after having it fused. But yeah, it was weird. I forgot to mention that to you, but
That's
yeah,
awesome.
It just popped into my head now. Like, yeah, first time in 7 years.
This is how we catch up. We do a show.
Yeah, we do a podcast.
Catch up for the week with each other.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's I don't think there's anything else really new with me right now. But how about yourself? You got some stuff going on, don't you?
Yeah, I finally did my YouTube channel for my hypnotherapy. I've been wanting to do it just where I talk about stuff about hypnotherapy, and I finally did it. I made videos, so now I have a YouTube channel where I just like take a few minutes to talk about different things. I have a few videos out right now. I talk about hypnotherapy. I have a fun little one talking about the conscious and subconscious mind and tarot cards. And I mentioned a little bit more with Karen in today's episode. And I recorded some more videos. I talk about like inner child healing, the healing process. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out. I'll probably end up putting 1 to 2 videos out a week, and I'll eventually like have guests on to talk about their experience with hypnotherapy and different topics. And I want it to be a balance of like having fun and learning and discovering about like alternative healing.
Awesome. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube. It's Monique Pliakis CHT, as my kitty gets caught in the wires. Whoops, it easy.
Oops.
She was on my lap. I was petting her.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Very cool.
But yeah, so I did that this week.
Great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really excited about today's episode. Our friend Karen Rontowski is on.
Yes.
And I freaking love that woman.
She's awesome. She's so cool.
She's just like one of the best human beings I've ever like come across. And yeah, she's awesome. And we talk about a lot of different topics, but like that's just how we talk to each other. It's like we go through like this whole realm of like different things, and hopefully you find it interesting. We sure did.
There was some stuff you guys were talking about. I was very very not silent, but I was just taking it all in. You guys were saying stuff and I'm just like, what? And then she's, you guys are kind of feeding off each other essentially and going back and forth. And I'm just kind of like, wait, what?
Well, I tell you that stuff.
But you don't go in as much detail as you were going here. And I'm just like, because now you're talking to somebody who gets what you're saying, who has maybe experienced it or something along the same lines as what you do, you tell me stuff and I love it. And I love hearing about it and I love being supportive and everything, but you're telling me some kind of a vision or something with tarot. I'll listen and I enjoy listening and maybe learning something, but I can't relate to your experience. So it's not the same as when you're talking to somebody who also does the same kind of stuff that you do. So it was just interesting hearing like some of the stuff you were coming out with, and then she's telling it was a great conversation.
Fair
anyway,
enough.
if that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah,
but
no.
that's, you know, I love you telling me all this stuff. It's great. I love hearing it. But again, yeah, I can't relate to it, I guess is probably the best way to
You
put it.
will.
Because maybe
As we
I would,
discussed in this episode, you will.
I'm open to it. I'm definitely open.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of good information in this episode. Like anyone who's interested in expanding their psychic awareness, their intuitiveness, like definitely listen. This is a really good one.
it is. So why don't we take a quick break and then we'll get right into the interview with
Sounds good.
the one and only Paranormal Karen Rontowski.
Yes.
Many people are unaware just how much hypnotherapy can help them, or think it's only to help lose weight or quit smoking. But there is so much more hypnotherapy can do. It can help with stress, anxiety, insomnia, phobias, performance enhancement, connecting with your spirit guides and higher self. You can even discover past lives and your life between lives. Heal traumas, break habits, find your deepest truth, or just have fun discovering who you really are, all from the comfort of your home. I'm Monique Pliakis. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I want to help you. Schedule a free consult by going to www.innerstandingshypnosis.com. That's INNERSTANDINGSHYPNOSIS.com. Understandings Hypnosis. Find your power and ignite your inner light.
And we're back. And we are back with my good friend, host of the Paranormal Karen podcast, Karen Rontowski. Yay! Thank you
Hi,
for being here.
Thank you for having me back. I always love talking to you guys. I'm talking to you all the time anyways. So texting or talking or whatever.
I know. I love it. It's like, okay, I'm going to sound so dorky here and I don't mean to embarrass you, but I found you because of your podcast. I happened upon it and I was like, wow, this woman is amazing. She sounds so friendly and kind, and she's funny and she's smart and she knows so much about cool stuff that I'm into. And then I just happened to email you. I asked you a question about a book, and then I asked you to be on our podcast, and we've become friends since. And it's just so wonderful because all the awesomeness that you are, it's like, I don't just get to experience it by your podcast. I actually get to talk to you in real life. And it's great. I love it because you are a truly just wonderful and kind human being. And I feel like the world needs to know that.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys. It's very funny because I'm in a little, I'm in a Instagram. I know you guys are not on. Somebody doubled my account and started emailing all my fans and my friend, and like I had a feeling I want to give you a reading, and it's Instagram is doing nothing. So I have taken on what I did before, because whenever someone says I'm very kind and friendly, I go, I have to tell you about the shadow side. So a couple of years ago, I got a bill from Kaiser Permanente for $2,000, and they were like, "No, you got to pay it. We're gonna, give you bad credit and stuff." So I started tweeting mean jokes at the CEO, like, "Until you fix it, these jokes are gonna keep coming." And then finally, there was a phone call from a very nervous woman that said, "I'm calling from Kaiser Permanente, and we would like to make this better." And they erased the bill.
Wow.
So I'm now doing a mean joke every day to the CEO of Instagram to just get them to try and remove it. And somebody today was saying how much I'm like a fae. They said I'm of the fae, and I was like, you know what? I have their wicked anger. So,
We have the wrath of fae.
But thank you for the compliment. I try to be, but I'm one of those people that once you cross me, I'm fighting bots and machines that are telling me my driver's license isn't me. And it's like, I'm just like, I don't know. So that's
Well,
my dark side.
But no, so I think that there are people like, because I'm the same way. I am so like, I want to love everyone and be kind and happy, but don't fuck with me, because it's like, I say it on the show all the time. I am like two ends of the spectrum. I'm either love and light, or I'm going to fucking kill you, darkness. And
I love it.
I really try to like work on bringing it to like a balance in the middle. But it's just like, I don't know where my line is, but I know once it's crossed, you're in trouble. But
Yes.
yeah, don't fuck with us. Don't fuck with the nice people.
Exactly. I always say the pendulum swings equally either way. But yeah, it's just, and it's such an interesting time of being triggered. Like right now, I keep saying it's the time of identity crisis. Like, and it's not like, who am I? It's like, who do you identify? And mine obviously is control, and I can't control this. So I'm like, rah, or some of my clients have the victim mentality, or some have the perfectionist, but like that is being triggered, I feel like right now.
I was the biggest control freak. Like if I was on a plane, I wanted to be in the cockpit just so I could like know what's going on, just in case something happened. Like not like I could do anything, but I felt more in control. I am the kind of person, I'll have plans A through Z, and then backup plans 1A through 1Z, B1, through B, like so many things, but I can roll with the punches. And over the past few years, I really had to work on letting go of that control. And it's really hard.
Mm-hmm. And I think I have it a different way from you, because I'll either have to be, like I always say to people, I'm either a great leader or a great follower, but I'm a very hard partner, because if something's dropping, I will pick it up and take over. Right.
Yes.
But like when I get on the plane, I'm 100%, those guys are in control. Don't even think about it. But if somebody if somebody just pushes that button the wrong way, like right now, because everything is out of control in my life now, like I'm moving, but this really, it almost was kind of like, well, now you're fucking with my fans and my customers.
Mhm.
And now I'm mad. I didn't care if it was just me or they used to just duplicate them and they did nothing, but they are reaching out. So now Zuckerberg, and like, I'm infuriated at, like, I just got to get it fixed. Today I gave it a rest, but I have a small dick joke for him tomorrow.
Yay. I love it. I'm like, how can I participate in this? Because we don't have Instagram, because Instagram screwed us. We were on it. I had my account. I had the Homewrecker podcast account. And all of a sudden one day I could put up posts, but only pictures. It wouldn't let me put like any information, like where you can type stuff out and talk about it. I couldn't add people to follow, to like friend. And I couldn't like anything to anybody's. I couldn't comment on anything. So I contacted Instagram. I did research. I contacted them like every week for months. Never got back to me. I emailed them. I DM'd them. I went on Twitter and messaged them. Months and months went by. They never got back to me. So finally I said, you know what? Fuck it. If they're not going to work with me and help me out, I'm not going to support them. I'm not going to put on content. I'm going to delete everything. I'm going to get rid of it. And I'm going to take my ball and go home. So that's what I did. And that's why we're only on Twitter.
That's what I plan on doing, but I feel like they have to get that account down first, or people will just assume that's me.
Yeah.
But it's funny, as a comedian, I am not, Twitter got too political for me, and I still have my Facebook page, but I don't go on it. I have to figure out what's the next step, because I built a community now on Instagram and everybody is reporting it. Thousands of people are reporting the fake account.
Yeah.
No change. You know why? Because Instagram did away with the people, and you're arguing with a bot.
Yeah.
And there's no arguing with that. And so, so I'm attacking the CEO.
Good, as you should.
I know.
What else are you gonna do?
If you do
It's-
it on Twitter, then I'll join in.
It is on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm tweeting at him. I just came back on, And I'll be putting up the jokes, hopefully one a day. But I was like, it was so frustrating that like today I woke up happy and I was like, take the day off. I laser pointed my anger at like at that account, like cracking and going into the black hole. So maybe it'll be down soon, but I can't. There's hackers you can hire, but I don't trust them either, you know?
Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, so I sell my organite and incense and everything on Etsy, and they kind of have the same issue where there's no longer really people. It's all bots and algorithms. So you have these issues, and like people will like steal your stuff. Like they'll steal your pictures and steal your listings and post it. And you complain, and it's like nothing really happens, or it doesn't happen as fast because it's not real people working there anymore. It's all these just programs trying to deal with things. And it's frustrating. It's like you make so much money, put some of it towards hiring good people.
Yeah, the big systems are the bane of my existence right now. And like, even, you know, nobody's talking about this, but I believe Verizon had a huge cyber attack.
Oh,
I think it's happening left and right, and they can't, like, even this, I bet there's so many right now, there's so many Instagram accounts being copied, and like it was like there was an opening gate on 2022. And I had a friend, he was pretty sure his Venmo was hacked. So I think the cyber bot is going to be a problem, and they're going to have to hire people. I just can't. It just makes me crazy.
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of feels that way when you're investing your time and your energy and your money into these things. And it's
And
like,
you're making them money.
yeah,
Right.
how much money are these CEOs making? They can't hire people. Well, that's why they make so much money, because
Well,
they're
yeah,
not
exactly.
paying anybody for
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
I think people, oh, go on.
I just said no security. And if people, I don't know, it just would be not, but this CEO looks like he's a robot like Zuckerberg is, and Zuckerberg is his boss. So they are sociopaths.
Yeah. They don't deserve our kindness.
No, but I mean, even
They're not
that's
really
my-
human.
that would be my dream if I owned a company. Like, my dream is to marry some bazillionaire who dies, and then I buy Nabisco, right? Because their workers are being treated like crap. They're working every day for years, for hours, making nothing. And I would go in and pay everybody, give everybody a raise, and we're all going to work this many hours, and you're all going to get healthcare. Just fix it. And then actually they could all own the company, turn it into a quality company. That's my dream, but that's not really happening right now.
Well, if you think about it, instead of making millions and billions of dollars, if maybe you took care of people, because like I worked in management before, if you take care of your employees will take care of you. And if you actually like, oh, I only make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year instead of millions or billions, and you gave that money to the people who are working their ass off for you, people are going to care more. Like, you hear people say, pay me to care. You have a job where you're working somewhere and nobody cares, and they pay you crap. It's like, you don't pay me enough to care. And that's part of the problem. And
that is, you know, also, I have this feeling like the way the country is splitting. I think if you guys and I were having dinner with some of the 1%, there would be a certain level where we would just be like, you know, did you see the movie Dope Sick on Hulu?
no.
It's about the opioid crisis and how they marketed the pill, and how many people got sick from it, and how the FDA was involved. And it's pretty heartbreaking, but the way the prescription company, which is one family, is portrayed, I think it's exactly right. Like, they're like, we can't put a warning on it because people won't buy it. People are dying because they're addicts anyway. It's just that sociopathic business viewpoint where I think we could have a small conversation, and then we just look at each other like, I can't do it. I couldn't talk to Mark Zuckerberg for half an hour.
No, I couldn't.
I'd be poking him in the face. Like,
are you a person? Like, are you
are
real?
you a lizard person?
Yes,
Yeah.
he is. He
Yeah,
is.
he's so. Yeah.
He's an android.
Yeah, he's got to have the most money.
Here, and like it's so funny because here we are. It's like, I feel like people who like don't really have money, they don't care about that stuff. Like, yeah, you want to have more money, but I learned in life, it doesn't matter how much money you have, it'll never be enough.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Bezos is the greatest example of poverty thinking.
Mm-hmm. It's like, man, I wake up, I have my health, I have my family. Like I woke up, I have running water, I have running clean water. I'm
Mm-hmm.
freaking rich.
Yep.
No, I got food.
You have
I'm good.
enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's amazing because with that poverty thinking, and I've heard you talk about it on your show before, where you kind of manifest that mentality, like you have that poverty mentality, that's what you manifest.
Yeah.
And you got to get out of that. Like I'm all about gratitude. Like I wake up in the morning, I share my gratitude. I think, like, I don't care if anyone laughs at me, but every morning if I make coffee or tea, I thank the plants and animals who have sacrificed themselves so I, my family, my pets, and others can eat and drink. I thank them for their nourishment. Like I thank them and I give them love and gratitude and I put that energy out there. And then every night before I go to bed, I'm like, thank you so much for today. Even if it was a shitty day, thank you that I had
Uh-huh.
this day. And it's like the more you live in that gratitude mentality, just the better off you are. You know, that's
Yep.
how I feel anyway.
Yes, little courage is 18, and every morning I wake up and I say thank you for another day with him, because I know we've been on borrowed time for like 10 years. And then every night I thank my angels for protection.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So I went to this amazing retreat last summer and it was awesome. And I met a woman there and she was fantastic. And she's psychic and like, she's like, oh my gosh, you have protection around you. Whoa. She's like, it's so intense. I'm like, I know, right? Because I was like, I know I'm protected. And
Uh-huh.
like, she was like, whoa. It was just really cool though, because like I was talking about dragons like that, like the night before, because I make my dragon organite and everything. And I do my dragon oracle. And I was like, that night I saw like dragons going around. I'm like, man, the dragons are circling around us. They're protecting us. They're here for us. And then she came in the next night and she's just like, this place is like, there's like dragon energy going all around. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
and we saw each other. We didn't even know each other. And we're like, I love you. And like hugging each other. But
Oh, that's so great.
yeah, but yeah, it's like that energy is there. People got to like get in tune to it and like to really notice it. So I love that you do that too and you have that gratitude.
You know, I have had like it's very interesting because over from the start of this Instagram thing to now, there's been a big change. There's been something going on. And I don't know if this is the topic you want to talk about, but so I started really contacting the archangels. I got in touch with you about sacred geometry.
Yeah.
And it was like game on, like information when I was writing, or like I got so much. And one of the things they showed me is, and I just put this together today. They showed me a stick and they said, this is the middle. And they said, remember, when you're growing with us, you're growing like this. Okay, you're growing upwards, higher frequency, but also lower frequency. And this will come back at the end of the story. So things around here started to get very, very, very strange. And like especially every piece of technology was breaking. And I checked in with a friend and my demonologist guy, and they were both like, somebody put a curse on you, which I'm not even a big curse believer, right? I believe everything happens for a reason. But I was like, what is this? And I actually my friend ended up teaching me a protection or a curse breaking spell. Not a big curse, not a big deal, but she was like, somebody just kind of evil-eyed you. There's a jealousy there and somebody has just put a zing on you. And it really helped, but it was very interesting because two things collided in that, which is, I've always said no to witchcraft. I've always said like, it's not my thing. I don't want to do it. And I'm suddenly realizing from working with the angels and some other stuff, they told me, it's like, yeah, this is starting. At least start protection, start something. This is a path that you can walk slowly and you don't have to go over the top. But the other thing was when they were doing this, what they were saying is, you can, we love you working on this frequency. Remember, you're visible to the lower frequency now. So it wasn't like they were saying it, but I was like, oh, I really have to learn protection magic now. And I have like a weird faith thing where like I didn't like them and I'm doing a comedy special on them. And then now I'm kind of like, I don't know. So I did a podcast yesterday talking to this lady that's going to be on my podcast. She sees Faye and she was talking about, and she said, I know you, I know your podcast. I want you to know the Faye love you. They are around you all the time and they have claimed you. And I was like, what does that mean? And she was like, they protect you. And I have always had all my friends talk about how protected I am. Like other people will walk out with crap and I'll have nothing. And now I'm starting to put all the pieces together. And so anyways, that was my little story. Does it make sense?
I love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's cool though.
I love
The
that.
Fae protecting you. That's hey. Cool.
Weird. Yeah. And she was like me. She was kind of like, you don't trust them all the way, or don't, like, I'm not going to do Fae magic, but there's kind of this thing when I'm writing this special, because actually in the special, I don't know that it's a Fae that attacked me. It's really funny. It's coming out great. But I think I kind of said in my head, maybe I should make this, like it was something else. I thought it was Faye, and I literally could hear the Faye going, no, say it's us, say it's us. Like we really like the attention.
I like that. So I was really into Faye, and I went for a Reiki session, and the woman, she's like a psychic Reiki master, and she's like, honey, you're a fairy, it's part of who you are. And I started studying more about them, and it was like learning like it's kind of like that love and that energy and that happiness, but then you also have to be careful because it's not like how we are. And so I was trying to learn the balance, and I did more reading about it and learning about like the different elementals, like the undines, and all those different things. And I started working on that, and it's like, then I start seeing them, and it's amazing because I'm like, you're showing yourself to me. Thank you. And I just make sure like I give love and gratitude, and like I'm still cautious and careful, but I got there's a woman, I'm blanking on her name right now, but she's on Etsy. She makes fairy chairs with crystals. And yeah, they're amazing. So I got one from her. It's gorgeous. And
It's
I
cool. Yeah.
put my little crystals, I have it in front of my altar, and I put my little crystals around it. And I actually saw one, because it's in my room, going down to, it's like a little glittering light moving down right to the chair. And I'm like, oh.
I see those little lights around. And it's funny because I know we were originally thinking of mediumship. I just did this thing where I said to guides and angels, I want to start physically seeing them. And I think it's starting, but I was like, you got to go slow so you don't scare me. But I do see little like blue lights and glittery lights around, and maybe that's it. But I do also think, because I'm a comedian, I am getting the tricksters, and they enjoy that. The lady said, you're like the reality show. Like they're watching you. What is she going to do next? What is she going to do next? So I think I have to be careful, but I have your Organite dragon. Yes. I had trouble with a neighbor. I feel like I have to whisper. And I had to put a mirror pointing at their place because her energy was so bad. And it's a mirror and the little Organite dragon, and then a line of salt.
Oh yeah, that dragon that I made for you, I like was thinking about all the things you said, because we're going to get into your journey into mediumship, which I'm so excited to talk about. But like you were telling me like some of the aspects of it, and I was like, I'm going to make you something. And a lot of times when I'm making Organite for people, I don't know what I'm going to do. I go into a meditative state, and I got certified in Reiki. So I'm a certified Reiki master. So I do Reiki and everything, but it's like, I ask what crystals to use, and I'm getting all these crystals, and I'm just like, I used, Seraphimite, which comes from seraphim. And then you're talking like, I heard you, because you have a Patreon we're going to talk about, how like you love seraphim. And I'm just like, I didn't even know that. I was just told I need to do that. And yeah, and just all these crystals, and they're like protective crystals and communication crystals and grounding crystals. And so I was like, holy shit, this is an amazing dragon because it is so strong and so fierce. It's like armor all over it, but it's grounded, it's connected, and it's gentle and loving. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. So I was like, I hope she likes it.
I love it. It's doing its job right now, I will tell you.
Awesome.
Before we get into any of the other stuff that we were talking about, I want to go back to you guys see fairy lights.
Yeah.
Like, can we hear more about this? Like, this is interesting. I want to hear about this.
Well, I know I talked about it, I think when we were on your show a couple years ago. When I was a kid, I would see stuff, and I see things, and sometimes it's like, especially like my peripheral vision, I'll see like white light, glowing light, sparkling light, like different things. I'll sometimes see things moving. It's hard to explain. Like sometimes, like if I'm in, like I'll be in the tub and I'll see like the water kind of splashes up on the tub, like on the side, and I see it. It's like in the water. It's like a face and like a body. And it's like, I like, and I try to get in tune and listen, and I can feel the energy because it's like I'm trying to communicate with them. And so it's just different things like that. And I'm realizing like I'm so happy because like in the outside world, if I talk about this to most people, they're going to like try to have me institutionalized. But here it's like, yeah, that's really cool.
That is really cool. That's awesome.
How about you, Karen?
First of all, it's funny you say that because last night when I was walking over Los Angeles, now this could be matrixing, my mind matrixing, but I saw a huge, the clouds were in the shape of a huge, there were two eyes and it was angry and it was huge. And they're doing something with chemtrails now that's crazy. And, but it was interesting because I looked at it 3 times and I was like, is that just go ahead, go home. I was like, I don't know. But you know what? If I see like once I saw when I was reading for my friend with my eyes closed in my third eye, and this is the hardest thing I think is to trust your third eye when your eyes are closed. But I was like, I saw something about her garden, and there was like a 10-foot tall woman that looked like she was from that movie of Alice in Wonderland. Like she almost looked like one of the cards with the red and white. And I was like, do you have a garden? She's protecting your garden. And she goes, oh yeah, I have a garden. And when I'm gardening, I tell everything in my garden I love it. And I thought, well, of course, that's what they like. They like that she loves her garden and what she's growing. But I would like to see things with my physical eye. And I've been manifesting that because I feel like there's a whole conversation I had with Jessa about working on your superpowers now in a dream I had. But what I see, which I think is Fae or guides, is, and Alex, what it looks like is like if you look right into your ring light and then you look away, your eye burns in like a flicker or a light.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'll be sitting at my desk at my place where I read, looking out, and there are no lights. And I will suddenly see like a blue light will go and it'll move a little bit. It's not just like it moves a little bit, or I see blue and silver or mostly, and I'm not focusing. So I always figure that's someone coming into the reading or coming to help.
Okay. Huh. And you mentioned too about the like the archangels or the angels. That's something you can physically see as well. You said you were building up to it, right? So that's something that can be done.
I believe it can be done. And I think I know people that do see, but my process, because like the first, or I think it was the second or third time I did ayahuasca, the shaman was like, what do you want to accomplish this time? And I was like, I want to see the matrix. So as I'm going through my journey, literally the spirit guide comes over to me and goes, do you really think you're ready to see the matrix? And I went, no, I don't think so. So I didn't see it, but I do think it is all available. And so with the archangels, there was a couple of things that happened because my automatic writing with them, when I was focusing on them, the automatic writing was like so channeled and so clear and so not me. And one of the things, because as you know, I'm obsessed with the pictures of what they really look like, just the eyeball or the square or the seraphim seem a little different, but there's this guy named Alex Howard on TikTok, and he's an animator. He does videos of them that are like mind blowing. And he says, this is why they say, don't be afraid. And they're like, I've watched them over and over. And one of the things they told me to do was they said, draw us, like keep drawing us, learn to draw or draw what you think we look like, draw squares and triangles, and that'll bring us to you. And I believe that's like your focus. But where I think I'm guided with them, like I can see the one that Alex Howard drew, but there's one with triangles that is in my mind. It's all in my third eye. I wish I could tell you it's in my apartment, but well, it is, but I can't see it. But I had a dream, and it was like, have you ever seen a coin when it's a collector's coin and it's in a box? So you're holding something square, but there's a coin in it.
Yeah.
Something like that flew across in my dream, flew across, and it was talking to me, and it was saying, you got to go to the forks. You got to go to the forks. And that day I had a conversation with Jessa, and what we were thinking was, what she said was, if you're not working on your superpowers right now, you're not ascending. So it's great to work on yourself, but you got to work on, your superpowers. So then I had that dream, and this thing comes through, and I know it's an angel. It's making a whooshing noise. It's saying, go to the forks, go to the forks. So I go over to the kitchen, and there's a woman standing at the silverware drawer, and she's saying, we got to do this quick. We got to get out of here. So I want you to get the forks. So I opened it up, and I grabbed the spoons, put the spoons on the table, and the spoons moved across the table on their own. And I was like, oh. And then I realized I'm so obsessed with spoon bending that they were like, try it now. And I haven't bent one yet, but I think that was also the message. Work on this stuff.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's so awesome.
Huh.
I will say something interesting because you mentioned triangles. When I meditate, I always see triangles, and I see like them they're all different ways. And my friend Liz, who's psychic, when she was doing oh my God, I'm blanking on it. The ink on your skin, not tattooing.
Henna?
Oh,
Yes,
Henna?
thank you, Henna, on me. And she was making a dragon, and she's like, I need to put triangles. And I looked at her, I go, oh my God, I see that all the time when I meditate. And I'm explaining, she goes, oh, well, she's like, you know why? And I'm like, no, I don't. She goes, honey, you're connected to source. And I'm like, I am. And she's like, that's the thing everyone strives for. And I'm like, I had no idea. But you mentioned that. And with angels, you always talk about Michael. Michael is your archangel. I asked who I was meditating, and I'm like, who's my archangel that I'm connected to? And I get Uriel. And I'm like, there's an angel named Uriel? I had no idea. Because I didn't really grow up reading the Bible. Like I grew up Catholic, went to CCD, but I don't remember Uriel.
I didn't know about him. Yeah, that's perfect for you. Isn't that the healer?
Yeah, and he has a flaming sword as well. Yes. And so yeah, it's very interesting, because I was like, okay, now I get it. Like, is this really an angel? Like, because I gotta be like making this up in my head. And I'm like, oh my God, it's really an angel. I had no idea.
That's the part that we have to trust, that is so hard. But I also think if they just looked like regular people, there would be no, like, how hard are you going to try? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But I will. Yeah.
Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, but there was like 2 to 3 weeks where like I was right in it. I would just sit down in the morning, and it was like the communication was instant. And I think the last 2 weeks where everything has gotten so crazy was me supposed to learn, you got to protect because of the bottom feeders are coming too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. One thing that was interesting, so my mom passed away a few weeks ago, and I went to the funeral. It's in a Catholic church, and we talked about it on an episode a few weeks ago. And I brought up kind of like being there. And one of the things I didn't mention, but I told Alex, and you kind of reminded me of something that had happened. I'm an empath, and going into it, I had so much going on. And like our cat died like a few days before. Yeah. Like like less than a week before. So it was a tough week. And my family and I, we go to the church, and I'm getting overwhelmed, feeling all the emotion. And I'm like, I didn't ground myself. I didn't protect. So I'm just like, I'm doing that. But I noticed I felt like something pushing on the back of my neck. It was
Mm,
like, it was so forceful. My neck was shaking.
trying to get in.
And I was like, okay, I grounded myself. I did my protection. I did everything, and it was better. But I could still feel it, like it wanted to come in, but it was like further away. And then, so you have a Patreon, and you had mentioned about how that negative energy tries to come in, and it comes at the back of the neck. And I'm like, that's exactly where I felt it.
Oh yeah. Sometimes when I'm investigating, I'll feel a scratch there. I am, was it you? Who did I talk to? Or was it Diet? I am working on getting a tattoo for there that is like, I want it to be like a cross, and then Michael's sword, and then a bunch of different things intertwined. But yes, I have a joke in my special where I go, that's where spirits attach. Right. Not sex. Right. That's attachment.
What I find amazing is that this negative energy and everything's coming at you in a church.
Well,
I don't know.
it probably came in on someone else.
Okay.
But that's interesting, because I always think, and I've heard this, I heard this when I did an interview with Diet and Michael Von Prague, James Von Prague said this too, that when you're in a church, it is a shield, and so it shouldn't have been. But I think they just come in. I just think if they're that attached to another person, they can come in and jump around. Plus that, that isn't that why they always say cemeteries aren't really haunted by the people. They're haunted because of all the sorrow of the people coming to visit them. So yucky things come in.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You gotta like cleanse your energy shield. It's like the windshield wipers. You gotta clear off your windshield,
Yes. Yeah.
Why don't you
Makes
tell
sense.
yeah, why don't you tell us about your journey into mediumship? Because when I heard you talking about it on your show, it made me feel really good, because growing up and, as an empath, and one kind of afraid to explore it because, you're told, well, that's not normal, or you're just imagining it. You would hear a lot of people who were psychics and who were mediums saying, if you're not born with it, or you don't have some kind of major accident, you're never going to be it. And then you talked about your journey, and I thought it was very inspiring to show, like, I personally feel we all have these gifts. It's a matter of just working with them.
Yeah, there was a famous psychic medium that used to, it's so funny how everybody needs to classify one better than the other. And and she always tells the story, oh, my grandmother and my mother, and that's great, that's fine. But it was always like we were born into this special thing. And I guess, and I could probably find some lineage on my family that was like that. But I always thought that's so intimidating, that so puts you off, as for like, I'm never going to be able to do that, when it really is work. And it really is something you can do. And some people, of course, like athletes, they come in with a higher level, but people don't understand. I have been doing tarot for 30 years, and I still there's still more to learn. There's still more to go. But I do think any of us can learn anything. Sometimes when people come to me with a reading, I'll tell them what I believe is the best place for them to start, whether it's clairaudient, whether it's, clairsentient. And usually they know that already. But I have always been told that I am a medium. And in fact, I went to a shaman, and she was like, you're actually more of a medium than a psychic. And I was like, well, it's not on right now, so I don't know what's happening. And although I must say I have had 2 or 3 mediumship experiences where I was telling this person about this man, and it was, I won't tell the whole thing, but I was like, so you should write a story about this man, and he's a scientist, and he's showing me a mad scientist. He's crazy. And there were 3 or 4 details, and she was like, that's the movie I'm writing about. And she named the guy. And I was like, oh, well, he's here. So I will tell you what he's telling me. And it was like 3 or 4 things. Like when you hit, it was so many that she was like, she must have thought it was amazing. And I was like, doesn't happen all the time. Don't think you're gonna get this next time because it's just this time. But it was one where I go, okay, I get it. Now a lot of mediums will, again, this levels thing, they will say, all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. And I'm always like, come on, come on. It's all, everybody can reach into the bag of treats and do what they do. So this shaman had given me an instruction. And first of all, I think meditation and intention are the keys to opening everything. And people don't have to meditate for hours or days. 10 minutes a day can make such a change. And so this shaman, she said, it's really interesting because this was a year ago. And I was like, I didn't doubt her, but I was like, okay, I don't know where this is going. And she said, I see you going across country and stopping your car and getting out and crossing people over. And you're going to do it like this. And she gave me a short explanation that I think I have to figure out my own. But she said, you light a little Voigt candle and you have an elevator come down, an elevator of light. And then you ask the people before they go in if they have anything they want to say, and you'll know what they want to say, and you'll thank them for being here, and they'll get in the elevator and they'll go. And then she was like, you can also do that with people's illnesses. Put them in the elevator and go. So I was kind of like, okay, that kind of helps, but doesn't help. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure. Yeah. But now it's very interesting because my astrological chart on January 18th has some sort of thing that's supposed to blow open. I'm moving into that phase where it's all in the 12th house. And I'm now, didn't know it then, getting ready to drive across the country. So she told me, wherever you feel it, get out of the car and do it, just wherever you are. So that's very interesting. But I keep taking in more and more information because I need the how-to. That's why I can do tarot. I can tell you the how-to and the steps, and you can decide which ones work for you and which ones don't. But I really think I told the angels now that I want to see stuff, and there was a whole point to this. Is this a day of like thoughts escaping us? Is that what's
I feel like it's been all week for me.
I know. So I know where I'm going. So when I was talking with the archangels, one of the meditations they did was I think I said this on my Patreon, pardon me for repeating. I was in a hole and this is where I would always meditate. I'd be in a hole and the light would come down. And I was always safe there. It wasn't a scary thing. So while I'm meditating with them, they move me up and the next layer is water. And they move me up again and the next layer is sun. And then they put me back in the water. This was another one where I felt like they were going dark and light. You're going to do both. You're going to do both work. You're not all love and light. You're going to do both. They put me back in the water and they said, now you're in your subconscious, program it, tell it what you want to do, which I thought was very, very interesting. And then the next week when I came back and I went to meditate and they said, build your elevator.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yes. So now I'm kind of figuring out the elevator, but now you do mediumship, right?
I don't. So like, I see stuff, I feel stuff, but I have to work on controlling it. So it's a matter of like, I was like, I'm not really psychic because I got to work on controlling it better, like turning it on and off. But yeah, like it's something that I'm looking into exploring, and you've really inspired me for that. You recommended like a book to start with and Betsy Palmer. And so I got that and I read it and I'm like, I'm already doing like all this stuff. And you talk about how you want to start seeing things. And I was like that because like I see things, but I want to see things. And yes. I was like, but I don't want it to like freak me out or scare me either. But I was like, I have to work on setting that boundary because I've actually like when I've meditated, I've seen things which I've like trying to talk to guides and angels. and it's not human. It's almost kind of like a monster, weird, something out of like a monster movie kind of thing. And I'm not afraid though. I'm more intrigued and fascinated. And I'm like, this is interesting. Huh. And I'm like, I wonder, like, is this what these other beings look like? And they're just different to us?
I
But
think so. I
yeah,
think
but it's not scary. And then I think, okay, maybe everything that the horror movies make it out to be isn't that scary. Because
well, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was gonna say, I tell Alex, like, if some freaking shadow man shows up at the foot of my bed when I wake up at night, I'd be like, you better be rubbing my feet or getting the hell out of my room.
Yep.
That's funny. Well, yes, because I also think, you know what? If we didn't have dogs and someone came over and was like, it's all covered in fur, so you can't really see, and it has a long snout and it goes like this, you'd be like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? You know, but I feel like, and this will be hopefully with my Patreon, I pick up pieces. And because I think the first part would be the crossing over. That's what I'm going to be doing, the crossing over. And then I took a class, my friend Melissa, I've had her on the Patreon. She had so many mediumship exercises. And one of them that she did, because I think this, from the little bit I picked up from kind of this famous, there's a couple of things. So I'm putting the pieces together, kind of putting together a book. When I get it, I think everybody in my Patreon will be along with it. Psychic energy is kind of this way, kind of through that crown, and mediumship energy is kind of this way. And it can be very tiring. Okay. It can be very tiring, more so than the psychic stuff. But I will get a picture in my head. And this will happen very often when I'm reading for someone. Like the other day, I was like, I saw a guy and he had such a strong jawline. And I was like, is he like really, he just seems so confident. He's got that male jaw. And she's like, yes. Or I will see almost Google eyes and I'll go, does this person have really big eyes? Like that's how I see it. But she gave this exercise that she said you can do. There's two things. The one was to close your eyes and ask your spirit guides to come really close, and then ask them to step away, and then ask them to come close. Like you can feel that energy. And that was a great exercise. The other one that she did, she said, the way you know if you're talking to a person or you're in your imagination is if you see that person and they're in a red coat, ask them to change the coat to blue. And if the coat doesn't change, that's a spirit. And if it does, then that's in your imagination. And I think all these little tips, I think one day it's going to crack open and I'm going to get it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, psychically, I feel like even now when I'm reading for someone, I will use a phrase and they'll say, that's what my mother always said. Or, you know what I mean? Like it's already happening somehow. It just hasn't been harnessed into exact science.
Mm-hmm. And that happens for me, like reading tarot, because like when I read tarot, a card can represent one thing and I get something else completely because things pop out on the card, but then I hear things. And like I did a reading for somebody and I got the 8 of Pentacles with the guy working on the Pentacles. And I'm like, watch your back. You need to watch your back. And unfortunately, one of her best friends ended up stabbing her in her back, in the back, I think like 6 months later or something. But it was one of those things because I'm like, I'll actually like, shh, hold on. Like, okay, wait a minute. Like, because they're talking, like I hear talking, and I'm like, is that my guides? And then I wonder, maybe it's one of theirs, or maybe it's somebody like with them in spirit, like trying to give a message. So it's like that's something, a goal where I kind of want to work on whittling that down because I know it's not my voice. It's somebody else. And so trying to figure out. So it's so interesting that you say that. And I love how you bring up these exercises because I did that with your Patreon, where it's like, okay, ask them to come in really close. And it's funny because I almost felt like, it's a little too close.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, back up. And it's like, I still feel ya, but it doesn't feel like that really intense feeling. Okay, back up again. So that it's little exercises like that I think are so important for people, because I mean, even like I started reading tarot at 19, and it's like, we all, like you even said it, you always want to learn. And I think with stuff like this, people want that kind of reassurance, like it's not all in my head. And so when you do that, it helps, because one of my biggest things is like, how do I know that that's really that? How can I trust that information? And I think you do a really good job, especially like on your show when you talk about it, about like telling people just trust it, trust that
Mhm.
information.
And it's the whole journey is so interesting. And it's, some people don't like how I teach tarot, because I really teach quite a physical, like some people teach tarot and they're like, they're going to give a vague meaning and they're going to meditate on it, and that works great. But if you're like me and you need the logic, I can tell you every symbol, color, we're breaking it down, what does this card mean? That is when I'm not getting the information, I can look straight at the card and I just repeat, and that's right. But I love that you got that interpretation, like even on that card, because that's what I think they do. I think they're sort of subconsciously talking to us. Now, the more, because I'm I'm always working on therapy or my trauma, and I'm not an in my body person. Like, I have to work on that. And one of the flags that I know a spirit is here is this ear will have so much pressure that it almost hurts. And that has, even the more I get, before it used to just be like a little flutter, but the more I get in my body and start to understand, the more it's like, it's so strong now. And sometimes someone will be talking to me and I'll be like, who's here? And it's happening more outside of readings. I also know that when my knees down get chills, that's either the knees, it's kind of weird. Round up chills mean I'm right, or hot flashes. I thought I was having menopausal hot flashes. That means I'm connected. But knees down cold is usually something negative around, something that I have to pay attention to. So
Interesting.
as we learn as I even learn more in my body, I start to get it.
I get that too. I get the pressure in my ear,
I get that too, but I
and you
don't
get
know.
ringing.
And I get ringing
You
too.
get
It's
downloads
always in my,
after.
yeah, it's the weirdest thing. I don't get it personally.
My ear just went. My ear just went. So somebody's
Amazing.
talking. This must be a message for Alex. But I was thinking right before my ear flipped that Alex, that is your download. So when you hear that ringing, that is information coming in, and you can even at that point stop and be like, all right, what do I need to know?
Okay. I'm going to try that, because
Yeah.
when it happens, sometimes it just happened like last week, and I'll sit and if I have my phone near me, I'll pick up my phone. I'll just start typing whatever's coming into my head. But other times I'll be walking, I'll be talking to one of our kids, and I don't stop to think or ask or anything like that. I'm like, okay, my ears are ringing again. Okay. Anyway. And I just pay no attention to it. But okay, that makes sense.
I'll
I'm gonna
get,
try that from now
yeah,
on.
that's awesome. Yeah, because like he got one and he's like, I felt like I just had to get it all out. And it was like, oh my gosh, all this information. It's on last week's episode where he like reads everything he typed up, and it was amazing. It was
Wow.
like, it's like how to leave the matrix. It's fascinating.
It
Oh,
was, yeah, it was crazy. It just popped in my head. I'm like, I gotta get this out right now. Like, it's just all coming to me, and I'm just no idea. What were we were watching a movie. I can't remember what we were watching, but it had nothing to do with anything. Just all of a sudden my ear starts ringing. I'm like, what the? Okay, phone, right, type, and just this came out of me. I don't.
this is so great. This is so inspiring, and so like this is what I think is happening. And I also think, like, right before I go to bed, I was like, I want to see something, and the lights in my home flashed and went back up, and they never have done that before. Okay, a weird message came up. That's weird. Did you guys just see the weird message?
No,
No.
on you or
Was it because I waved? Somebody's helping us, because a message came up on the Zoom and then went down when I said the lights flash. And then today, when I walked in that room, I saw a dark thing in the corner. Not necessarily afraid of it, but I feel like spirits do hang from the ceiling down, and that's what was going on. But I feel like we are this close. Like, Alex, you could wake up tomorrow and have another one of those that was like the most important psychic development ever. Or, I could wake up tomorrow and see a fae standing right in front of me. We're that close. We're literally that close, and we have to ask.
yeah. Oh, I love it. I actually, one thing that started happening over the past few months is I get, it's a weird thing. It feels almost like I'm getting kind of like not hit in the face, but like that. And almost like my eyes are going back a little bit and like fluttering. And it only happens for like a couple seconds. So I'm like, okay, what do you want? Like, what are you trying to tell me? Like, what's going on? Or like if I'm in the middle of doing something, it's like, oh, okay, this is important, you know? So I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
get hit.
It's
Yeah.
and it is great to have a safe place to talk about it. It really is important that other people hear and don't feel crazy.
And that's the biggest thing. And I think that's why I loved your show so much, because I'll talk to Alex, but he's not into it the way I am. I try to teach him, but when I explain stuff and he's like, okay, it's nice to have somebody to tell it to. But then when you're talking to other people and, listening to your show, it's kind of like, I'm not alone. And then you
Mm,
have all these other people. It's like, oh my gosh, they've experienced that too. Me too. Like, I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. And I think that's the biggest thing for people who are opening up their awareness, that it's like, no, you're not crazy. And this should be the normal for us, but it's not. I talked about how we all have ESP and we don't realize it. How many times does something pop in your head and then you realize like somebody else was thinking about that? It's not, it's because they were communicating with you. We just hear it as our own thoughts, and we have
yeah.
to work on tuning into what's ours and what's somebody else's, and then tuning into, oh, who is that from, not just that it's from somebody else.
Yeah, and there's so many things. Like I was doing my it's be very interesting. We're gonna try and sell the Faye special to Netflix, but I don't know. I might just put it out on my own. But it's so it's the key with that was to write jokes that the regular person can laugh at, and
Sure.
also have them be based in what the metaphysical person. You are about to raise your hand. That's what it says. You're about to raise your. Okay, I got it now. I am raising.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, and to have the metaphysical person, like I'm talking about Fae, and I will say, they're mystical creatures like elves or leprechauns or men ready to make a commitment. Like I'm so that if somebody's not interested, they can follow, and then if somebody is, they're like, oh, we know what she's talking about. And I will be interested to see, because I know witches do not hold back. And I wonder if a lot of them are going to be going, no, she's really talking about it. Or other ones are going to be going, no, you said that wrong. Like, I think it could be a really interesting conversation. But it was funny because one of the first things that the angels told me was, and I talked to you on the phone about this: get your vessel in place,
Yep.
because there's a huge download coming, a high frequency, and it'll make you sick if you're not. And I found so many people that foods don't taste the same to them, or they can't drink anymore, or there's even what you were saying about your body. Like, I feel like it's already starting. I don't know why the date of January 18th is there. I think someone must have said it on my podcast, but I know my Taurus moves into the 12th house, which is the house of mediumship. So I'm hoping, and I should do this on one of the episodes, have everybody sort of put their experience or what they do. And I think we can all patch it together, because I need that ABC book. Do this, do this, do this. That's how I learn. And no one's really done that yet, I don't feel like.
Well, and maybe that's what we need, is everyone coming together, because it's almost like it just popped in my head. Like, how we talk about like the conspiracy theories about how like only certain people get certain information in the government, but like somebody a level down will have other information. So we're all at different levels of getting the information. So we all need to come together with our bits of information to put it together and figure it out.
Yes, I'm going to ask that in the comments. I'm getting ready. Tomorrow I'm taping a episode that's on in 2 weeks, and I'm doing the tarot dating game.
Awesome.
That sounds
Nice.
phenomenal. Can you tell us about it?
It's just going to be like meet the Empress, and now the three bachelors are, and then the people have to guess who the card is.
Oh, I love that.
That's
I
awesome.
love that. And for your Patreon, so I subscribe to your Patreon and I freaking love it because I did your tarot class. Now, I started reading tarot when I was 19. I stopped for a while, got back into it. And I feel like I always want to learn because, like you said, if something's not coming to me right away, I want to know what the cards mean. So at least I can go on that. And I always feel like my guides know what I get from a card and what I think it means. But the more I learn, the better. And so with your class, you not only teach about the different aspects of the card, but we get to have fun with it. And then like you just did something on numerology. And I loved that because we're into numerology and people often forget, like with the tarot, the numbers have a meaning and there is a purpose to it. And when you think about the Fool is 0, and because it's like the cycle and there's just so many different facets of it that I think sometimes either people don't realize or they just totally forget about, because when it comes to tarot, it can be so overwhelming, but you make it digestible and you make it really fun for people. Can you share a little bit about your Patreon, like how it came about and your process with that?
Sure, sure. And it's the Patreon is helping me. So I have the regular tarot class that I put up that I sold for people. And then I thought of the Patreon because one of the things is repetition is a good thing. Too much repetition can be not too good. And in fact, the Patreon sort of, even for me, I was like, this is going to force you to get back to basics or to change layouts, because I do about 20 readings a week. I just tried to cut that down a little because that's kind of too much. And I thought, well, maybe with the Patreon, I can even it out and put into that. So I try to bring a new exercise or a new thing every time. Sometimes I just show people how I read. I say, stop the tape. What did you get? And that kind of stuff. In fact, it's funny because it has inspired a whole level of learning in me. And there's 2 categories. I don't know if I'm off the question, but
No, go keep going. I'm listening.
You're good.
so everybody, and the 2 levels are, there's a $3 level where people can get the card of the day. Every day they get a card explained and a mantra to help them with the day. They get that 5 days a week. And then they get one class. And then there's a $15 level where you get a class every Thursday. One each month will be somebody telling us about their process, and you get the card of the day. So it's a lot. If you don't want a lot of emails, maybe it's not you, but or you can fix your notifications. But that's what I do. But the 2 categories that I find very hard to exactly nail down are health and profession. And I'm getting ready to do a profession one. And lately, like every card where I have said, you know what you should be doing, or have you ever thought of this, has been right on. So I feel like the cards are now presenting themselves in a way that they haven't. So now I'm going to do a couple of professional cards every day, or do one episode on health. Health, I think, is a hard one. That one I'm holding off on. And it's only because I always tell people in my class with pregnant ladies, you never tell them this isn't going to go right, or you're going to have kids going to be autistic. You don't program their mind like that. So it's a touchy subject. And I feel like that about health. Don't you feel like that sometimes?
I've gotten some things where health, where like the cards are basically screaming at me like they need to change something.
Yeah.
And I get really kind of matter of fact about it. It's like, you see this card, you need to cut the shit. Like you need to take care of yourself. And like people know, but they just don't want to know. And it's like, you're doing this to yourself. And you know that because you're afraid. You have to stop being afraid.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes when it's like that kind of message, it's like, no, they need to know. Sometimes things will come through. Like I've had people where it's like, I don't feel comfortable telling them exactly. So I don't. And it's not because I don't want to give them the truth. It's just like, it's a weird feeling I get inside. It's like this, like right, like in my chest and like my gut. It's like almost like a pressure, like, whoa, 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 stop, hold up. And it's like, yeah, the information's there, but it's like, you can't be like, oh, you're going to have a heart attack. it's like, okay, how do I put this? And it's like trying to tell me to like be careful.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that feeling, because I get that a lot. Not reading, like I get like, oh, what is that? And then I asked my friend, because my mom had something happen where it's actually going to be a nice, easy surgery. But when they were describing it to me, first of all, I don't like medical stuff, but I was literally over like this, and I called my friend Amy Spicer, and I was like, what is that, like unbelievable empathy? And she was like, well, of course it's your mother, so you have her gene. But it was like, I think when you're getting that, that's a huge whoosh of empathy, like something's really wrong here. And it's almost, I can't interpret it, it's so painful sometimes. But yeah, I always, that's the one. um a lot of times in my class I'll talk about the mistakes I made with that, because I think people learn from the mistakes. But that's what I try to do. I try to, even with this dating game, let's just keep it fun and see who can guess, because it's repetition, you know. But since I started that Patreon, like I said, I was reading for someone today, and I was like, that's a caretaker's card. That's the caretaker's card. I never thought the next time someone asks, and I'll put it in the Patreon, like, this is it. I always talk about the Five of Pentacles, which is maybe I have it right here. It's very, for any of your listeners that are non-tarot. I had this woman and I was reading for her, and everything's great, and everything's great, and everything's great. And she keeps getting this card, and it's just sticking out. And finally I said, what do you do? And she said, I sell orthopedics. And I was like, oh, that's, that makes, that's a broken bone. It makes total sense. So I think sometimes it is a learning process, but lately it's almost like I want to write a book. I want to write a workbook for like dyslexics that have all this stuff in it with pictures and lots of notes. But I feel it's very interesting that the more I do the Patreon, the more it's being revealed to me.
I love that. That's awesome. Anyone listening, subscribe, because you have a $3 a month tier where you do the card of the day, but then you do a video. Is it once a month for everybody?
Yeah, once a month they get the 30-minute class, and then see if you like it. And then if you like it, you can go to the 15 where you'll get 4 classes.
Yeah. And I signed up for the 15 because I'm like, I want it all. I'm greedy. I want it all. Give it to me. But
well, you have to come on as a guest. I need
okay.
you on as a guest. Okay.
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I love it because I think, again, it's so important that we learn from each other. And one of the things that I've learned is like the moment you think you know everything is the moment you know absolutely nothing.
Yes.
And I feel like I don't know shit. I just know with like whatever comes to me, and that's all I can go with. But
Yeah.
it's really fun. And so like we home educate our kids. So we don't like calling it school. So we're like, it's time to do our lessons. So when I watch her Patreon, I tell my littlest one, like, oh, I'm doing my lessons.
Awesome.
This is my education. But
Terrific.
yeah, I mean, seriously, like anyone listening, subscribe. You actually, for how many months have I been wanting to do a YouTube channel for hypnotherapy?
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a bit.
At least 6 months.
Yeah, I've been after you about it too.
So I recorded a couple videos and wasn't really happy with what I did. And Alex helped a little bit, but you actually inspired me to like, I got to do it. I'm like, Karen's doing this Patreon. Like she does so much too, but she's doing this and it's really cool. So I'm going to go do my thing. So I actually just started a YouTube video for hypnotherapy.
Oh.
Yeah, I try to keep the videos not too long, and there will be some that are longer, but it was like you really inspired me because I just saw what you did, and I'm just like, yeah, and watching your classes, I actually wanted to do a fun one because with hypnotherapy, we work with the conscious and subconscious mind, and you point out the colors, but I was showing people like the fun aspect of it, like, oh, you can look at the whole card and kind of see like, does it represent conscious or subconscious? And then I get like the 10 of swords, and I'm like, unconscious. It's like conscious mind, subconscious, unconscious. But it's like, and you were a huge inspiration, and like, you can have fun. You can talk about serious stuff too, but you have to have fun with it. So I thank you for that.
Thank you. And when I started, I thought, oh, nobody's going to be happy unless the classes are an hour. And then I was like, an hour is too long. It's too much to absorb, and it's too much to try and do every week. And then I was like, well, I hope it doesn't get repetitive. And then I was like, well, it should be repetitive because you know what I mean? It's like, and then, so now I think that the classes are about 30 minutes. Sometimes with the guests, they'll go longer, but I think that's just enough. And I kind of had to back off on, you have to put so much information in. Cause like people that took my class, like sometimes I would have to say, don't write it all down, watch it, take it in. Cause I'm like, if a podcast or something starts and then the first 2 sentences, it doesn't grab me, I'm gone. So that's kind of how I teach. But everybody's been kind of inspired me that they do want to hear about my meditations, or they do want to hear about a bunch of stuff. So it's just been this wonderful, safe, beautiful place.
Everyone there is really cool and really supportive as well. And that's something that you don't always see when you join these groups. I mean, this is the only Patreon I've subscribed to. The only thing I can relate it to is when I went for my Reiki Master certification. My friend Adriana Devine, she has the class she calls Metamorphosis, because you are like, you know, a butterfly. You metamorphosis when you do thank you, metamorphosis. You change. I suck with words. And but we had like a group chat, so you go at your own pace, but we can talk to each other, and it was really supportive. And that's the vibe that I feel with your Patreon for your subscribers, because like we can comment and we can like each other's comments and like get conversation going, and it's just so nice because it's like it's our safe place. Like we're all, you know, paying to be there, so you don't have to worry about outside parties trying to come in and ruin it. And it's just really nice because it's like, I know I can make a comment about something and not have people ridicule me or be a smart ass about it or make fun of me, or, you know, it's just like we're all supportive of each other. And that's really awesome too. Because I feel like with what we do, we need that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, and you already do your readings and you have your business, but I'm hoping for the people that are new to one day have them post who wants a free reading, and they can, because if they're just reading for friends, they can stretch out and read for strangers. So I'm hoping that that gets going.
Oh, wonderful. I'll volunteer. People can read for me and be like, oh my God, your life is so fucked up, woman. What did I get myself into? I'm kidding.
Someone can tell me where I'm supposed to move to.
Yeah. I'm like, where are my cards? I'll do it right now. And, I'm going to be biased and say New Hampshire. That's why we can't read for ourselves, because it's like, we're going to interpret what we want to. And I've done it before. I'm just like, I can't read for myself.
That's a whole topic there.
Absolutely. In the beginning, it's like you can, because you got to practice. But then like, once you really get into it, it's like, no, I know better. I know what I know what they say, but I'm going to manipulate it. So this is what they say.
I have definitely done that. I think now I have a little system where if I read for myself, I do it very carefully. So I think I'm getting good at it. But you know, the whole thing goes in waves, because there's some days where I sit and I flip the cards and I don't think I even look at them. And then sometimes it's exact cards. And then sometimes I think I need a break from the cards. Like I think they're getting too much. So the whole thing's like it's a moving target all the time.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever, I'm just curious, because sometimes it's like, I feel like I don't even need the cards. It's like, they just come to me in my mind. It's like, I don't need the cards. I already know I'm getting the information. Do you get that at all?
Yes. And then the cards can still be like training wheels, but yeah, absolutely. I'm not comfortable yet doing just a psychic reading, but also I have some people, sometimes I've been criticized because people are like, oh, you're psychic, why are you using those? Or this famous psychic where I used to go to her, she used to have like a community class where it was inexpensive and everything. She would go, that's a crutch. She yelled at me, she goes, that's a crutch. And then at the end of the class, she's like, oh, and you can take my tarot class. And I was like, really? But you know what I find is right now with the tarot, I can give more information faster.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the psychic thing someday, and they're intertwined. They're both going on. But if I was to just go just a psychic reading, I've had friends that do it and it usually moves slower. So I like to put as much information in as I can.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing I think is people can get that visual for themselves, because I use that, like, see this card, see this right here? Yeah, this. And I can like point it out what it is to them. And then they get that visual. So it's kind of like, Oh, it's not like somebody who's like, doing tricks and trying to like where what's it called? Where
Sleight of hand?
no, like where it's kind of like you just based off of like people, their body language, you guess stuff and
Oh,
you,
yeah.
like
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, like it's not like
mentalism or something.
yeah, it's not like
Okay.
we're doing that. It's like, here's the card. This is what got pulled. This is what your energy is saying. And then they get that visualization. They get to see that for themselves. And I think that helps people as well, because then they can go look stuff up too. Oh, this card does mean this. So it's, it's not
Yep.
like we're trying to take advantage of people and just make stuff up. It's like, no, this is legit. Like, this is what's up.
So, if people go to my Paranormal Karen podcast YouTube channel, on there and on my comedy channel, I put up a half an hour of my psychic stand-up show where I'm doing that from the stage. And right now where I'm telling jokes and doing psychic readings. And right now we're working on a way to get the cards that I'm looking at projected on the screen. It's kind of like a little weird technical quagmire, but everybody's like, that other dimension where you're adding the cards and interpreting. It sounds really good, but it's talk about never ending learning. So I was doing it at my friend's show last week and the show was running long. So I sat down and started playing a game on my phone. And when I went up there, the psychic stuff was beyond clear. Like everything coming out, it was like boom, boom, boom. And I said, what? Because usually when you're doing jokes and psychic, it's kind of a tricky, you're doing two streams at once.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, my friend Angela said, I think you put yourself in a mini meditation with that game. And I thought, I think she's right. I think it put me right in talk about just learning something new every day.
That's amazing. I love that.
Wow.
That is so cool. And I think like another thing is just meditation, to touch on that really quickly, because I used to think you had to meditate. You have to quiet your mind and sit still for an hour. And again, it was listening to your show that made me realize that, oh, I don't have to meditate like that. There are different ways. And it got me to like, I'm just going to start trying. And then it was like, whoa, like everything that comes to me, it's like, this is a lot. But it's just really cool because I try to tell people like, there's no right or wrong way to meditate. And you just said it, playing a little game. It's, you're putting your conscious mind aside, letting your subconscious kind of hang out, not a lot of thought going on. And you're just kind of there.
Exactly. There in the moment in my body right now.
Yes. Yes. And
Awesome.
yeah, it's so important for everyone. And we all got to work on our abilities and we got to support each other of it.
Yes.
Karen, thank you so much for being on our show. Before we part ways, is there anything else you want to share with us? Anything else, information you want to get out there for everybody?
Plugs, anything.
Yeah.
The Patreon, and also if you like the psychic stand-up show, which people are kind of loving it, I'm going to start putting clips up from another show. I've done like 5 or 6 of them, but that's the show I want to do on the road. So share it, like it. That's the one if I could get it around. Go around the country doing stand-up and then psychic stand-up together. I do a show at Zany's in Chicago. Last Halloween I did it and they were like every Halloween. So you can see me in Zany's in Chicago for Halloween, but
Awesome.
yeah,
Nice.
enjoy the psychic stand-up show and look for the clips. And I guess I want to say, follow me on TikTok, because right now that's the only one I'm not mad at.
I was going to say you have, I'm going to see if I can find it, your psychic stand-up. Yeah, the Valentine's Day special. So I downloaded that on my phone. So you can buy that as well, especially like if you want to support Karen, buy your psychic stand-up, please. It's really funny.
Yeah, that's a CD on my website. And then the video of a different show is on the YouTube, or sign up for my email. You can just do that. That's the easiest. And there's a bunch of them on tape. So I put out little clips, 1 minute at a time. And so now but people really went bananas for the 30-minute show. And I was like, I have a couple of these, so I'll start posting them. But yeah, there's CDs, there's a video, just look up psychic stand-up and that's me.
Awesome.
Fabulous. Karen,
Awesome.
Thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate you. And you're part of our Homewrecker family. You can wreck our home with us anytime you want.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks again, Karen. This was awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Hearers, watchers,
Homewreckers.
like what you're hearing or watching so far and want even more Homewrecker content? Then check us out on Supercast, where you can get more exclusive bonus content starting for as little as $5 a month.
You'll get more of the content you love and also have access to exclusive episodes, listener-requested shows, watch-alongs, AMAs, plus special deals on Homewrecker Podcast merchandise and more. Visit homewreckerpodcast.supercast.com to sign up or click the link in our show notes.
We really appreciate your support.
We do.
So hit pause and go check out homewreckerpodcast.supercast.com right now.
Or click the link in the show notes.
Thanks. All right. Well, that was fun.
That was so fun. I love her so much.
Yeah, that was definitely that was cool.
Yes. Well, she's cool. Let's start over.
Sorry, honey.
That's okay.
And we're back.
That was Karen.
That was
How
awesome.
can you not love her?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I just remembered. So she's been on our show before. I think it was 2 years ago.
That sounds right. Yeah,
Yeah, 2019.
I thought was it. Maybe.
I think it was 2019, the summer of 2019. And I named the episode Paranormal Karen. She's so awesome.
So awesome. That's right, yes.
Because her intro song, if you're not familiar with it, it's really cool. It's like,
Yeah.
it's this guy and he has a guitar, acoustic guitar. He's like, Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. And I was like, she's so awesome. And I was just thinking about how it just holds true. She is.
She is.
I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully she's in the process of moving.
She is.
So and she's not really sure where she's gonna end up yet, but hopefully it's somewhere close by here. Because that'd be cool. I'd like to see you guys hang out, like in person.
I've already like gone there.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it'd be cool.
I'm like, she's gonna
That'd be
move to.
cool.
I'm like manifesting her. Like I've been doing this for like the past 3 years, like manifesting her moving closer, so I can
That's
hang out
awesome.
with her in person.
That's so awesome.
She's gonna listen to this episode and be like, "Do I need a restraining order?"
Monique is a crazy stalker.
No, I love
She's
her.
really not. Yeah.
Like,
Oh, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say we really talk to each other like we're friends.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, you're always like texting and chatting
Yeah.
and stuff. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that was a really cool conversation. The stuff with you guys are talking about seeing the fairies, and that was like, that's why I
told
said
you that.
I know, but you never went into that much detail. Although I remember you telling me about the time in the tub, which I was like, what? Like, huh?
The water fae.
Yeah, it's just like I said when we were talking in the intro. It's difficult for me to relate because I haven't had these type of experiences. I'm having my own weird stuff happening with my ear ringing and the downloads that follow. And I like what Karen said about stopping and asking, what are you trying to tell me? Or what do you need to tell me? And like, I never would have thought to do that on my own. I never would have thought to do that on
Well,
my
I
own.
told
So
you
now,
to like pay attention to what's going on and see what you need to focus on.
yeah, but I've never thought to like just stop and actually ask, whether it's in my head internally or just out loud if I'm by myself. Like, what are you trying to tell me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that now because I what could go wrong? I mean, that makes sense because, like I said during the interview, it'll happen and I'll be in the middle of doing something, be talking to one of our kids and maybe in the middle of a lesson or something. So I kind of like, it'll happen and then I'll just kind of push it off to the side, like, oh, okay, this is happening. What's this mean? What's this about? I'm saying that inside, but then I'm just still trying to focus and because when I talk to the little ones, I'm always like, they get my undivided attention. No matter what else is going on, they're my attention. So I try to forget anything else that's happening. So I'm going to try that from now on. Just try to be more,
Maybe you can ask
I guess,
spirit.
intentional about it You know, maybe like excusing myself if it starts to happen and just
Yeah.
kind of step away or something. I don't know.
Also, ask spirit, like if you can send these messages while you're not in the middle of like doing something with your children. Be like, can you do it like when I have nothing going on so I can like pay more attention?
Yeah, yeah. Be respectful of my time and schedule.
Spirit, you got to work
please.
with me, okay? Yeah.
Right, sure, yeah. I'll do that. Yeah. So, and another thing that I wanted to mention too, with you, weird, but lately I feel like for some reason, and I don't know what it is, but for some reason, biblical type stuff is like really starting to come back into my consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
like stuff that maybe like stories I heard as a child or whatever. And it's like I've started to get kind of like an interest in that again, almost like I got to go pick up a Bible now and read it, and then try to read the Book of Enoch and all the
Yeah.
stuff that was taken out of the Bible. Like I
Like
feel
I
like
want to read Revelation and Genesis and all
yeah,
that.
like I
Yeah.
now like all of a sudden now I have to go read this. Like I'm almost like it's I guess calling to me, I guess in a way. It's weird. Because I've never been, that's never been my thing, you know, at all. But lately, for whatever reason, that's just
If you're being
been,
called to something, go to it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned that to you till just now, but it's weird. Like especially these last couple of weeks, it's just very, it's like a recurring
Yeah.
thing. And
Go
for
for it. Like go dive into it.
I guess
If you're being called to something,
see
freaking go.
what it means,
Yeah,
what comes of it. But yeah, I don't know.
absolutely. You know I'm supportive of that.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just anyway, awesome time talking to Karen.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed this. Please listen to her show,
Absolutely.
Paranormal Karen. She is a comedian. She travels around the US and does comedy shows. She mentioned every Halloween she's at Zany's in Chicago, which like I remember I was like, I gotta go to one of the, I'm gonna go to, I'll drive to Chicago. I'm gonna go to her Halloween show. And then COVID happened. It was like the universe, like, not the time, honey. Not the time. So I'm just like, okay, I'll be patient. But yeah, she has her Patreon, which you can check out. I'm on there. So it's like I said, it's great information. It's
So,
fun. Yeah.
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but how does that work exactly? You said you chat. Is it like kind of like a community kind of thing where
No,
you
it's
guys?
like you can like you can comment on things.
Oh, okay,
But so like somebody might comment and then like you can comment to the comment.
I see. So you can
Yeah.
actually have like a chat kind of.
Yeah.
I see. Okay,
And like you can like
All right.
people's comments too, which I like because if somebody says something awesome, I want to like it.
got it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
But yeah,
that's
so
neat.
check it out. Support her. She's wonderful. And
Support any art
yeah.
that you can relate to or that you enjoy or that resonates with you in any way, whether it's a podcast or whatever it is. So support it because we were talking about this with Conrad about a week or so ago, and it's so important to be supportive of artists, and it's kind of crazy that everybody looks to artists, whether it be musicians, podcasts, television, radio, whatever. They look to those people for entertainment. They want to be entertained, but nobody wants to pay for it or support it. And the people putting this stuff out, pouring their creativeness, their soul, their heart, everything out into their art, whatever medium it is that they choose to channel that out into, and they don't get supported for it. Somebody like, you ever heard the term starving artist? That shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a thing. So definitely support Karen, support anything that maybe is asking for it or offers it or needs it, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, you know, artists need to make money too. Like putting out this content is not free.
It's not.
You know, like it costs money, and show your support. And if you really like what people put out there, and if you can afford it, like give them financial support, give them energetic support, you know, like tell them,
Absolutely.
hey, I like what you're doing. Like there's all different ways to show your support, you know, give your encouragement. If somebody's going to be in your area live performing, check it out. Yeah, because I mean, I feel like she's worth it. She like I'm friends with her. She has it free on YouTube. I didn't have to buy her Valentine's Day comedy special, but I wanted to. I wanted to support her. It was $5 on iTunes. It's like, it's little things like that. It's like, I don't have to, but I want to. And I really hope that people kind of click into that. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay to show support financially as well. It doesn't make
Yeah.
somebody a shill or anything, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. It'd be nice if people start to kind of come around to that a little
Mhm.
bit. And yeah, you're right. Just because somebody's asking for money doesn't mean they're a shill. It means they have to eat too.
We all got to eat.
Everybody's got to eat. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's that. Anyway, I don't want to get preachy or nothing.
No,
but-
no, no. And then you reminded me I wanted to say something and then I forgot. So maybe it'll come to me another day. I was gonna say it when we were talking to Karen,
Oh,
and then I didn't get a chance to. And then you brought it up, and I was like, oh yeah, that reminds me. I wanted to mention something, so I'll mention it now. And then I forgot it.
and okay.
Whoops daisy.
So there we go. Tune in till next time when hopefully whatever it is you wanted to say, you remember.
Maybe I'll remember. Who
Maybe.
knows?
That'd be good.
But yeah, and check us out on Supercast too. And speaking of supporting people, we have bonus content available. So check that out and show your support if you like what you see here or here.
Yes.
Here.
We especially lately, we've been talking about some stuff that I honestly never thought I'd talk about ever again. Especially with you. But
We go places we never thought we'd go. I'm like
And
thinking
I'm
like
sure
the
we're
Dr.
gonna go
Seuss,
more.
the places you'll
and
go.
I'm sure we're gonna go
We
more.
go there. Oh yeah, that was fun. That was really fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right.
If you want to know what we're talking about, go to homewreckerpodcast.supercast.com and find out.
There you go. Check it out. All right. Until next time, thank you everybody for listening
Thank you. We
or
love
watching.
you.
We do
Thank you,
absolutely
Karen.
appreciate you. Thank you again to Karen. And until next time, I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion. I've enjoyed as always. I'm going to try to remember all this. My beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing, certified hypnotherapist, certified Reiki master. I've already forgotten.
Tarot reader.
Tarot reader.
Organite maker.
Organite
Incense
maker.
maker. Candle maker.
You say it for crying out loud.
Domestic goddess. Dragon goddess.
My lovely, beautiful wife, Monique.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker podcast.
We love hearing from and interacting with our hearers and watchers. Feel free to reach out to us on Twitter
At Homewrecker Pod,
You can also visit our website,
homewreckerpodcast.com.
where you can check out past episodes and pick up some Homewrecker podcast gear from our online store.
Also, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're hearing or watching our show. That way you can be notified whenever a new episode drops. We're on all major podcasting platforms, and you can check out the video versions of our show at YouTube and Brighteon.
You can also find Monique in a few places online as well.
I'm on Twitter @_MoniqueGiselle_. If you're interested in a tarot reading, organite, incense, candles, and other cool things, you can go to my website, tarotbymonique.com. Or if you're interested in hypnotherapy, you can go to innerstandingshypnosis.com to schedule a free 20-minute consult. And follow me on Twitter @MoniquePCHT. And Alex, how can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter @TheAlexArion, and you can check out my website, AlexArionFitness.com.
And if that's too much to remember, we get it. That's why we put it all in our show notes.
Thanks for spending your time with us, and we appreciate all of your support.
We do. Thank you. We love you.